Alright, welcome everybody, my name's Terminus, and today we are gonna watch Monogatari episode 5, off-season monster season episode 5, but before that, we're gonna talk a little bit about episode 4. If you're new to this, I do that occasionally. I do talk about the last episode, comments or things that I didn't say last time that I want to say right now. We are also gonna talk about it afterwards a little bit, kind of just breeze through the episode, discuss it, and then I do have a separate discussion video that I will be posting that is a little bit more of an in-depth dive where we go into the themes and everything. But let's get started. The comment sections I wanted to pull up, there's not been a lot of comments, but a couple of them. Shout out to Simon and Alexander Henriquez especially, because the two of you have actually been commenting some very interesting things. You did mention Nadeko Pool, which seems to be like a side story that had been in the light novels, but not in the manga, interestingly enough. So, okay. Simon actually said something like, sometimes things are better this way, and I was like, do I even want to know? But Alexander actually mentioned that this and a couple of other side stories that have been throughout the Monogatari series that have not been adapted in like an official like book or volume or whatever might be turned into a side story volume that would be called Michikana Monogatari. So very interesting to know and maybe to look out for. If I should like read Nadeko Pool for myself or on like video, do let me know if this is something interesting to go into or something relevant for the current arcs. That might be something I would be willing to do. Other than that, let's just dive into a couple of things that came up. One of the things I wanted to say is like I'm still unsure about like the bloomers versus swimsuit kind of debate, because not because this is a serious debate, no, but I found it very interesting because it was mentioned so at the forefront of what Nadeko was saying. So either this is a giant red herring that's just kind of just meant to throw us off, or it is something that is actually gonna be pretty important for the plot down the line, either this episode or the next couple of episodes, because this is Monogatari doesn't just mention things and then not do anything with them, right? Obviously there are red herrings and they happen, but if they're not red herrings, 90% of the time these are things that are foreshadowing for future episodes to kind of sow the seeds to let us know that there's something going on here. And the specific time frames and whatnot, I can't really pin down what this is supposed to be. But one thing I can imagine is that things are not quite as it seems with the Nadekos, right? With maybe there is like not just 4 clones, but there's an additional one. I don't know how we would do that, but Nadeko could be an unreliable narrator to a degree. Or potentially it's just that one of the Nadekos or some of the Nadekos are not who they seem they are, right? You think Nadeko, who's running around like with bloomers or swimsuit, that one of them was actually not Mika Nadeko, right? That we do have a switcheroo thing going on, and the twist will be that, for example, current Nadeko kind of acting sus all last episode, and yes, obviously there's a reason why she should be acting sus, and I do think that this can be very well just be normal current Nadeko, but maybe current Nadeko is not who she seems she is, or maybe there was a meeting that she's kind of not telling us about, right? That she actually met God Nadeko and something happened. That is very well a possibility, I think. I also do think that we are kind of underestimating Meek Nadeko, honestly. I think we might be underestimating her, and the twist might be that not God Nadeko is actually leading this whole thing, but she is the mastermind of this entire thing. One of the reasons I would think so, or one of the reasons that would speak in favor of that, is that most incidents that happened around Nadeko were the result of Meek Nadeko, right? Were the result of her herself, right? For example, the Nadeko snake incident initially in Bakemonogatari, and her behavior around people, right? The way she interacts with them. Nadeko Medusa too, right? The only reason God Nadeko actually happened was that meek Nadeko swallowed the charm. For all intents and purposes, meek Nadeko is the point of origin. And if you search for your current, right? If our search currently, Nadeko's search is a search for her current self, right? To find her own identity, her new identity going forward, but also kind of recap her old identity in some way, right? What makes her her and what used to make her her, then at least metaphorically, it would be very, very logical, a very logical endpoint in the past to go to meek Nadeko rather than God Nadeko as the endpoint of the arc, basically, to just be like, okay, this is the point of origin. This is the person she has been kind of the longest also. I wonder if meek Nadeko and God Nadeko are also kind of targeting specialists specifically, because she chopped like Ononoki apart and current Nadeko was like, what justifies this level of fucking annihilation? And maybe it's because Ononoki is in her function a tool of the specialists, and specialists / oddities were involved in all of the incidents that kind of destabilized Nadeko's identity, her life, and all of the things that happened. They were both, especially when it comes to like meek and God Nadeko, because they were both involved in incidents relating to oddities, and they could also be the parts of Nadeko that feel the most threatened by the specialists right now, because current Nadeko is kind of under investigation from the specialists, right? And they have an eye on her, and they're trying to decide if they should eliminate her if she's too dangerous, and all of that is... I don't doubt that this is something that is and was in the back of the mind of current Nadeko, because she has been explained that by Ononoki. So that could be just a self-defense mechanism for all intents and purposes. It might actually just be that. Yeah, what else did I want to talk about? I think going further into God Nadeko thing, I think we have to see all of this in terms of like the thematic threads that we're trying to spin here. And what we have been trying to do right now is connect past versions of Nadeko and their characteristics with current problems that Nadeko faces internally, right? The Nadeko that was all about, like, her flirty Nadeko was all about just going to school, being popular, and all of that stuff. And in a way, this is helping Nadeko, right? Helping her go forward socially, right? Helping her overcome her like not going to school thing, improving her reputation, right? Improving back her reputation that she had at school previously before all of these incidents happened and shit went down and she stopped going to school. So in a way, she's helping her, but she's also kind of her desire to just focus on these things, these problems, these issues that are in the back of her mind, but that are not directly related to her grand dream of becoming a manga artist. At the same time, we do have Wrath Nadeko, and it would make perfect sense that if Wrath Nadeko kind of felt slighted by the Araragis, basically, because they kicked this whole thing off, Tsukihi cut her bangs off and all of that stuff, that she would be going to the Araragi household. On the one hand, maybe because of like revenge reasons or telling them what for, right? On the other hand, because maybe also Ononoki is there, and Ononoki kicked this whole thing off about like, yeah, let's kind of just get you back working into school and whatnot. I mean, she didn't, right? Her parents did that. So there's a little bit like maybe confounding variables here, but in a way I can see that. And we do know pretty much definitively that Wrath Nadeko's whole thing in this specific form, in the current form that she is in, as a part of current Nadeko, is her refusal to put in the effort, right? The thing about like, hey, why should I have to do all of this hard work and go through all of this pain? As she said last episode, if it's too painful, just let it be. If I can live a different way, right? I don't take shit from you. right? I don't want to take shit from life. God Nadeko is even harder to pin down, but in my opinion, and it's been a long time since I've seen the original Nadeko Medusa, and it's been a long time since I've seen the series in general, so do correct me if I have some leaps in logic here, if I do have some incorrect thoughts that go back to that time, and maybe we'll recheck that at some point when I do actually have the time. But I think God Nadeko is a representation of how we and Nadeko often feel like not everything is under our control, right? That not everything regarding our wants, needs, and emotions are actually controllable in our life. That in everyday life, we often can feel like we're controlled by other forces, like we are, or by other entities, and it is outside of our means to change these things. That God Nadeko is not only the ability to control the world around me, right? Control the world around Nadeko, and have it adhere to her will, but also to cast off her human desire in a way, right? And for it to become something insignificant, because what is desire, right? Her desire to become a manga artist, for example, in comparison to the cosmic meaning of being a deity and representing that, right? Serving society and humanity as a whole, as this ascended being that is being worshipped and that is there for everybody else. And it's also maybe in a way to distance herself from her own desires and focus on helping other people with her desire. We have that theme a lot with Araragi in like the previous Monogatari series, where he focused a lot on helping all kinds of other people with their issues, especially Bakemonogatari. And it was in a way almost a way for him to distract himself from his own issues and moral quandaries that were going on, right? But what could, like, the hardest one to pin down, in my opinion, is Meek Nadeko, because what could she represent, right? What could she mean? And I'm gonna make an attempt at that, and I wrote down some notes that I actually that I will be reading from partially, but I'm trying to keep it relatively organic. I feel like Meek Nadeko's theme will come down to something very basic and fundamental, right? Maybe something as simple as identity. In many ways, Nadeko is the origin point of Nadeko's identity, right? She was Meek Nadeko for most of her life, and for most of that time, she fulfilled the expectations of other people, right? She created her sense of self out of a desire to adhere to other people's concepts of who she is or who she ought to be. And I feel Meek Nadeko will be, in some shape or form, be the representation of an artist's identity crisis, right? The end point of the finding yourself process of an artist. But also at the same time, the beginning of that, because obviously we never end, right? We never finish finding ourselves. We constantly find and define ourselves. Creating a new identity that logically follows out of your old one will probably be this arc's endpoint, in my opinion, right? And Meek Nadeko is the origin point of that, and Meek Nadeko is the center point and the black hole at the center of all of that needs to be resolved, in my opinion. That is my current guess of all of that. Yeah, a couple of other things we also had, like I wrote a couple of things down, such as a thought that I had a couple of days ago where I was like, Ononoki's new character design, right? And comparing like the two character designs to one another, I did that. It is very interesting because I feel like her character design, in a way, makes her not only seem more mature, but that could be my own like subjective perspective on that, but also it seems to make her feel less doll-like. Because if you look at her original design, the way like the three skirts with the frills and all of that, and her little like her pigtails, which are kind of going out and are complemented by her little head that she does have, and all of the stuff that she is wearing kind of makes her seem like a doll, right? Like like you would pick up something like that as a doll and just play with it in your dollhouse and whatnot. She seems a lot less like that at this point, and I do wonder if this is foreshadowing for her development in this arc and beyond that, maybe like beyond, like in the entire often monster season, maybe that this is a lot of connected stories about, like, for example, Nadeko, a little bit Tsukihi, and a couple of other characters maybe as well. And we dive into, eventually we will dive into a space where Ononoki develops beyond her doll self, right? Develops an identity that is still in line with who she is as an oddity, but at the same time goes beyond just her understanding herself just as a tool. Speaking of understanding yourself as a tool, one of the comments that I had actually mentioned that the thing I didn't understand last time, where I was like, I don't know what that could be alluding to with like a Shikigami using a Shikigami. They think that this is mainly due to Ononoki just not being able to make sense of it, because she's like, well, that is kind of odd to me that a tool would be using another tool. Which, I guess this could be something where we go into like a giant rant conversation about robots and how robots are actually tools that would be using other tools in order to fulfill like human desires of production and efficiency and whatnot. But let's not go there. But let's just make the hint and then let you guys out there, you guys and girls, decide if you want to think about this and have an identity crisis for like 2 days. I think that's about all that I wanted to mention. Yeah, that is, I think, about all. Thanks again for everybody who's commenting. I don't get a lot of comments, and I think it's a little bit sad, but at the same time, I understand that. I feel like a lot of people are probably either thinking that my commentary and my discussions are so exhaustive that there's not a lot to say, or the other portion of the people who are not commenting are probably those who are like listening to my discussion for like 5 to 20 minutes and then they're like, I don't find the discussion all that interesting, I'm just here for the reaction, and that's fine too, right? I know how it goes in the reaction business. Either way, we're gonna get started with Monogatari episode 5, because I've already got it up and ready right here. Let's see what God and Snake Nadeko and everybody else is actually doing today. Let me see. Bam! Oh. Good decision. Strategy meeting, alright. I'm sure the audience likes it too. Ooh, we're going incognito. Alright. Undercover. She looks like a skater. Oh, this is beautiful. I mean, we already have them. But the question is, are you gonna use them or are you them? Yeah, you need to streamline them. Yeah, right, we have the physical and the social prowess at our hands. I find it very interesting that we're like kind of later. Kind of, yeah. You gotta continue beyond the failure, right? Yeah, if the idea was okay, then keep trying. she's pointing that out, and that's right. Yeah. Yeah, which is be developed, right? Become the person you want to become. Oh, that too, of course. Right. Although how much of that does Nadeko actually want, right? Yeah, more confident, right? Ooh, right. Background. Hmm. And now we're facing two. You think so? I think that's that easy. Yeah, why don't you free them first and then talk to them? The shot, holy shit. It's almost like this is an adolescent manga or light novel series. Caters to her surroundings. Rages about everything. Divinity and innocence. I wonder what that means. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's fucking go. What I was gonna say is, the question, or the thing in my mind is, it's very interesting how we're like, okay, let's combine this positive part about Flirty Nautico and this part about like Raph Nautico. And I was like, yeah, this is what I was saying last time. You need to leave the good sides of who you were, or the parts that are still inside of you, right? They don't just go away. If I change as a person, that doesn't mean that the thing that I was before, the characteristic I had before, that they're just extinguished. They're still there in the back of my mind. They're part of my development. So we kind of just need to get in there and, yeah, use all of these things to advantage. And in the process of defeating these other parts that are still opposed to me, I do learn how to integrate the old me or the subconscious me into my identity. Hopefully. Shame that the official subtitles do not have the translation for the lyrics of the song. Also, shout out to like this OP being the exact same length as Renai Circulation. What the fuck? Like, what the? At a bookstore of all places. Alright. Oh yeah, yeah. And you did it based on like books. Yeah, you researched that beforehand. All points of origin for her. Ooh. Hey, no, I'm disappointed that she didn't show up. But aka Shinobu, actually. Ooh. Isn't that Muso Express? That's playing in the background. Araragi will be here as well. Yeah, like she should as a professional. Or Hachikochi. All of these fucking word bonds, I swear. We can do this, alright? I'll believe in you, Nadeko. Oh, I love that. Exactly split in the middle and it opens up. Light novels. Wonder if we see a Monogatari novel there. Ooh, yeah, they all have special abilities. She's hiding. She's got stealth skills. Holy shit. Sandwich. Why though? All of these creative shots, I love it. Ooh, she noticed something immediately, right? It's like something you notice in your peripherals. And there we go. Cool. Cool. Oh, she's going at it herself. That would make sense, right? Meet Nadeko and flirty Nadeko. Is she though? This is fishy. Mm-hmm. She's luring you in. This is a team up. Search within yourself, Nadeko. Yeah. Yeah, something is wrong. Holy shit. Alright.
希望が叶うはずがないのです。死に方を選べるとしてもせいぜい消去法で選べるくらいでしょう。だから人は生き方こそを選ぶべきなんでしょう。
Oh, interesting. Okay.
もっとちゃんとみんなと喧嘩しておけばよかったな。みんなと仲良くしてればよかったな。そうだよ、しのぶちゃんや戦場ヶ原さんとだってひょっとしたら。
What's gonna happen here? What the hell happened? Ooh, she came out herself.
そんなイケてない名前をつけられてなかったら、うち最初からあなたの味方してあげててもよかったかもね。約束。でもその服マジ可愛いね。うちも着たいし。どこで買ったの？今なでこちゃん。これはお友達の月日ちゃんに借りたんだ。もううちダッサいな。こんな必死に頑張っちゃって何やってんだか。今なでこちゃん。
There's something real even in superficiality.
隙間から本をかき分けて抜け出してくれるとありがたいな。ほんとマジそう思う。嘘じゃないってば。うち一生懸命になったこととかないから、もう限界なんだし。
Get the hell out of here. Do it.
なんで助けてくれたの？さあね、ムカついたからじゃない？ごめんなさい。私のせいで。私が未熟なせいで。いいんだってば。謝んないでってば。その代わり次はもっと可愛く描いてよね。今度はそういう服着させて。ああ、そうだ。このパンプスがいいで。
Let me be more like you next time.
靴の書き込み甘いからさ。今度は服と合うやつ履かせてよね。約束。約束。
I wonder if this is like the aspect of Nadeko that is maybe affirmative, right? I mean, she's affirming everybody else, but maybe why shouldn't she be affirming herself in a way? Right? Even if it's sometimes a little superficial. There's something real about it too. Bringing out the best in people, showing them your best.
約束。絶対書き直してあげるから。次は空っぽじゃなくしてあげるから。
You won't be a stereotype, you will be real, right? Deep.
私の憧れを誠実に投影してあげるから。
My admirations. And she's just giving herself... Alright, that was great. I also love how... So what do we do with this mess? Literally nobody's coming. Everyone's like, just, yeah, this is fine. This happens all the time in this town.
探しようがなくって困っていたんだよ。その様子だと、なでこ、式紙を起動させたのかな。
こびなでこの方を使っちゃった。
And she disappeared, but she became part of yourself, right?
式紙は主人を守るのが本懐だからね。こびなでこはお前の代理という役割を果たしたんだよ。
Interesting, right?
式紙の僕が言うんだから間違いない。
Right, protect your creator. Wonder what that means for Ononoki and Tadatsuru, because he was part of her creation.
おとりとして使われていた大人でこも一緒に潰れている。
フロア中の本棚を一気に倒したとなれば、立ち読みをしていた大人でこだって無事で済んでいるはずもありません。信じられない。神なでこは私を押しつぶすために大人でこを切り捨てたのです。
Didn't she do that originally as well?
これで戦国なでこの人数差はこちらが2であちらが1の2対1だ。
I'm still not trusting this 100%, but I'm just gonna take Ononoki at face value for now. Still the Nadeko pool story.
彼女の式神としてのスキルだった人見知りゆえの人払いのスキルも効果をなくしていくと思われます。店員さ 客さんがいつここにやってきてもおかしくありません。私
The
が
whole pictures thing.
できなかったせいで、この本屋さんに与えてしまった多大なる損害を思うとめまいがします。その責任にとても耐えられそうもありません。
もしもお店に悪いって思うんだったら、将来立派な漫画家になってこの店でサイン会でも開いてあげるんだね。
そうですね。相当な売れっ子漫画家にならないと借りを返せそうにありませんが。
Right, framing. It's important. And she's still there. Why and how? So many of them. What? How and why?
ルマナデコに比べてルマナデコの目撃証言が多かった理由が分かりました。単純にいっぱいいたんですね。なんてことのない真相です。
But why?
誰がどうやって
Mm-hmm.
ル
Who?
マナデコを
Who the fuck?
というのですか？
I mean,
虐待の式神を制御するなんて、
God Nadeko maybe?
10万匹の蛇を刺激できる神様でもない限りは。
でもそれにしたってキャラクターを100体も描き分けるなんて描き分けてませんね。
Yeah.
全員が全員ハンデをしたような大人デコでありルマナデコですね。
ふむ。
God powers.
あとはコピー機を使ったって感じだろうね。
Modern technology, gentlemen.
大型書店全体に人見知りゆえの人払いを施すなんてスキルが高度すぎると思っていたけれど、100人がかりだったと言うんなら
She copied Big Nadeko, holy fuck.
ここに来るかもしれないという心配はなくなったようだね。
そこだけびっくり
I guess that
非常に喜ばしい情勢ではありますが、それはルマナデコが100人いるという同目のシチュエーションを帳消しにできるほどの喜ばしさじゃありませんよ。こんなの全く勝負にならないじゃないですか。
全く勝負にならないというのは言い過ぎだね。
they're all cheap copies.
になったけれど、数が多い
Shout out Sangatsu.
100体の式神のそれぞれ
The
に
Renai circulation.
指令を出すことはできなくなっているはずだ。神ナデコがいくら神でも
All pawns, right? Yeah, okay.
100体のルマナデコの動きには明確な意志のようなものが全く感じられません。
They're a hive mind, basically.
持つ神ナデコが唯一恐れるものがあるとすれば、私には彼女を封印する術があるということです。逆に言えば神ナデコは私に対しては唯一その展開だけを避ければいい。それゆえの人数差、つまりはコビナデコが展開したところの人の
Mm-hmm. Alright. Right, protection.
だけでなく100人のルマナデコで身を隠されてしまえば、これはもうお手上げじゃないですか。
The question is...
相手にお手上げとはなんとも皮肉です。
おいおい、忘れちゃいないかい、ナデコ。たとえ神ナデコがこの大人数に紛れようとも、あいつの背中には僕の手がしがみついている。
Ooh. Okay, if it's still there.
どこにどういう風に隠れようとも、方向だけはしかとわかる。そして重要なのは、それに神ナデコはまだ気づいていないということだ。
Yeah, why are you saying it now, though?
1階であんなトラップが発動したってことは、神ナデコは私たちがここに来たこと自体には気がついているんだよね。
I mean, it's more like she was aware that they would eventually be.
向こうも必ずしも余裕があるわけじゃない。おとりや罠を隠す余裕はなくなっている。
だけどそれでも無意無策で特攻するってわけにはいかないよね。いくらなんでも。お
Yeah.
姉ちゃん、こっちには何か策はあるの？
ないわけじゃないけれど、荒らぎ月日のせいでわだかまる不調を隠しきれない上に、全身継ぎはぎだらけで右手が泥の僕が考えるよりも、ここはお前に戦略を担当してほしいところかな。
But I'm not fully functional.
思いつきでも何でもいいから言うだけ言ってみて。
They're all lying there.
わかった。考えてみる。おののきちゃんのアンリミテッドルールブックは戦力に考えていいんだよね。
1回だけならね。どういう形であっても2回は無理。
神ナデコを
Alright, so we have limitations.
神ナデコは動き続けるの？それともボスを倒せばその手下もまとめて封印できるパターン？
That is a good question.
知らないけれど、多分
Alright, we don't know.
だから究極、お前を殺せば全てのナデコは消滅する。
究極すぎるよ。根元から立たないで。じゃあ魚デコのヘアスタイルって月日ちゃんにバッサリやられた 本人にとっては非常に不本意な髪型なんだよね。
うん、そうだね。お前がそう言ってたね。それぞれの戦国なでこをかき分けるときに。
だったら、
うん。
だったらいっそのこともっと短く整えてあげようかな。私くらいに。
Ooh, decoy game double. That could be cool.
僕は決め顔でそう言った。あ、
I didn't see that, but I'll look that up. All right. Mass destruction. Let's go. And there she is. Ooh, the melody. Beautifully deranged. Ooh, and we have a modern twist on it. Holy shit. The snake. Okay, the red dress. We're back with the red dress. Holy fuck, this is fire. Alright. Fun. All of my theories. Like this bookstore. Well, not all of them, but probably my my theory about like Nadeco being at the base of this was not quite correct. A shame, but I guess this form of interpretation could also kind of slightly work for God Nadeco if you want to. Right? I'm trying to find actually a cover version of Undead to maybe play this over the ED whenever it happens, since I'm doing full length. It's a little bit different than the other Monogatari EDs, but I really, really love the song, so I don't mind that. Alright, peace. Okay, that was Nadeco Draw episode, I don't know. Let me calculate that. Episode 4, Nadeco Draw. Or maybe Nadeco Draw episode 3, because we have episode 0 to start with. Possibly, I don't know. I think it's episode 4. Either way, very interesting, very nice. We have, once again, a lot of like stuff that I didn't expect and a decent amount of stuff that I did expect. A lot of great themes. Let's go through it. Let me bring up the episode again. Sound disabled. Speed higher. Do all the jazz. Alright, bam, bring it on the screen. Back to Nadeco Pool, this time in nice yellow colors, sunlight colors, as opposed to the blue that we had last time. Still the fucking feet shots, holy shit. I mean, I guess some of you people will be eating good with this, with these in-between cards. Either way, I'm actually gonna, are we gonna go through that, or are we, nah, I'm just gonna go through it like that. So we're gonna head back for the Sengoku residence, actually, which is really cool. I did expect that we're actually gonna meet for like a strategy meeting or something. I do love how Onuroki just keeps changing clothes. She looks like some kind of like skater or something, or like I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say hipster, but whatever. It's more like the very casual look that you see. I think it fits her very well, to be honest, even if it's like just for shits and giggles. We eat some ramen noodles, and I do love how the how the art style in general, or how the art direction is. We are looking at like this living room. This is kind of like the typical Shaft staple, right? Where we do have a living room that's just out of this world. If you think weird architectural design, you immediately think Shaft with all of the wind turbines, all of the weird houses, Madoka Magica, for example, that you have like the schools that are weirdly highly technological in some areas and then not in others, and just giant scope, despite it technically not supposed to be that way, right? The school wasn't really set up to be anything special other than that. Yeah, and we want to utilize the 3 Nadekos, and I was wondering last time how we do that, if it's like now the power is within you, or if it's just I'm actually utilizing them. And it seems like the plan for now was to actually utilize them. Strawberry ice cream, grape ice cream, black sesame. Black sesame? All right. I mean, Japan has some interesting sorts. We don't have that kind of stuff over here. Although I suppose we do have peanut and whatnot. So it would make sense to maybe have something like sesame as well. I think it's very funny. Like Ononoki's hand kind of low-key looks like the ape hand of Kanbaru in Bakemonogatari. Not exactly, but like the style reminds me of it somehow. Right, we want a 3-on-2 and have a numerical advantage in this battle. Milk gelato, berry gelato. Holy shit, how much ice cream is Araragi giving you, Ononoki? What the fuck? What the fuck? Right, of course, Nadeko has her own personality, so it won't be simple majority. We have flirty, god, whatever. I think I really love all of these panels that are just showing them in different like contexts and different art styles and whatnot. It's just very, very cool to be creative in this way, to have that freedom and just be like, I'm gonna draw a really nice picture of them. Favorable position in sealing away the 2 that were posing, and I do love that. I do love that. Love it. Look at this amazing thing, right? We do have like the split screen, and both of them like the same height, and they have slightly different colors, but they mesh really well. It's so great to just and to use that as a metaphor to establish that we are merging the good abilities of both of them, right? The positive sides of both of them in order to put them against our opponents, which is absolutely great. And the chisel was taken away, which I find very interesting. Now that Mika Nadeko had her chisel taken from her by Wrath Nadeko, Mika Nadeko had the chisel originally, which I'm like, why did Mika Nadeko have the chisel, right? I'm very curious, but it's an artist's tool, right? It's a creative tool. What did Mika Nadeko have to do with the chisel originally, and why did like current Nadeko draw that into the picture of Mika Nadeko? So I'm very curious about that possible aspect. Now we cleared up the bloomer versus swimsuit thing and why it is what it is, so it's great, right? God Nadeko took Mika Nadeko, was copying her bloomer self and then gave her a swimsuit. So now both of them are running around and we're kind of confused, right? Divide and conquer, try to kind of just confuse the enemies, sow misinformation, and hope that they're gonna be surprised. The fisheye lenses are amazing as always. I mean, it's not specifically fisheye, but the way it's just right, like I don't even know how you call it, like the way the dimensions warp in these specific lenses that they put them in, but it perfectly kind of states this. All of the pressure is on Nadeko right now, and we're looking up to her as kind of just like being the world warping around her and her trying to figure out how to fix this issue. We only have an armchair theory, that's right. Relying on Shikigami to clear out our situational plan to clear things up thereof was the exact thing we tried to do this morning and completely failed, right? But Nadeko, is it alright to fail, then just end it there? And that is a big point. This is a big point of this entire arc, I guess, right? That we are learning from our mistakes and we're trying things again with more information, with a cleverer strategy. And kind of that is the artist's way. This is the way if you want to learn any skill, basically, even beyond art, but generally, this is the way you approach things. You are trying something out, and if you fail, if you immediately give up afterwards and they're like, okay, this didn't work out, I guess I'll never do it again, then oftentimes, you won't succeed in life. And Ononoke is pointing that out. She's like, is that really the right attitude for somebody who wants to fulfill their dreams, right? To try one time and then just be like, okay, whatever, it didn't work. I guess I'll never try it again. But many people do that. Many people think like, erroneously think that just by trying something one time and looking at it and looking at like the very simplified result of it didn't work, it would confirm all of their assumptions that the things they're trying are not going to work, right? Because we are going into these things with a basic attitude, and the basic attitude decides a lot of how our success works. Are you one person that after, and I'm sorry that I always use like YouTube as an example for this shit, but it's very easy and it's very from the top of my, or you know what, let me use university or school, right? You're trying something, you're trying yourself to apply yourself in math, because math is it's always been kind of hard for you, but you're interested in it on a basic level, and you know you need it for things that you want to do later on. Maybe you want to become a scientist and you do need a certain level of math, right? A biologist, a chemist, whatever. And you want to study that, but you need it, or an electrician or whatever, right? And you need a basic level of math for that, a certain amount. And you're like, okay, I'm not that great right now. I mean, I'm not terrible. I'm not failing my grades. But let me try this, right? Let me try this new method of learning. Let me try to get in there, right? And you're trying at something and you're hoping, like you're setting yourself a goal, and I want to get like this grade on the next exams. You're going into the exams, you don't fail, but or maybe you fail your grade, right? Because you were too stressed and whatever. And then you need to rethink your approach. Or maybe you don't fail, but you're not as good as you wanted to be. And now you're like, okay, I knew it. I'm not great at math. I will never be great at math. And then this kind of transfers into what you already had established as an assumption about yourself, about your skills, right? About your self-efficacy. How skillful can I be in a certain thing? And that is, with each experience that you have a failure, depending on how you take it, of course, depending on your coping strategy, depending on how you adapt to it, can lead to you believing more and more that you're just not cut out for this, that you're just not good for this. And then you end up doing something in the end of the day, maybe that you never wanted to do, that wasn't your dream. And then you end at a place in life where you look back and you're like, well, why am I not happy? Why didn't it work out, right? One of the big issues is the basic attitude that you think that you, at some point, you started to believe that you're not capable of it. And I do think that taking things in stride and being like, okay, I made a little bit progress. I was a little bit better than last time. Or maybe, hey, damn, I failed this completely because I was a nervous wreck. I need to make sure that next time I kind of set up my learning phases and kind of just reassure myself and have the emotional support of other people and talk to people that, right, lead some conversations that are important for my mental health in order to actually be in a state where I'm not overdoing it, where I'm maybe not pulling 3 all-nighters in a row and then don't have any sleep when I'm actually taking the test or whatever, right? I need to settle down into a routine where I can actually make decent progress. And I've learned from this last experience that this might be the right direction I'm going in, but this is not the approach I should be doing. And it's like that for Nadeko, right? She wants to develop her dreams, and she sits down, she's like, I just have to do 1 year of hard work. She's already compromising with herself, and we talked about this last time. She's already setting up the stakes where she's like, if I'm not perfect or if I'm not successful after this period of time, then I guess it wouldn't, right? I guess I'm just not cut out for it. She never said that, but it's implicit within that, because she expects that after a certain amount of time, she has a certain result, and after that, she doesn't have to give it her all, or at least she doesn't have to work as hard anymore, doesn't have to suffer as much anymore, right? She's giving her constant time limits and goals, which are important in specific, right, cases, but it is important for her personal development to understand that she should not immediately give up after every failure that she has. And that is an important lesson to learn for everybody in all of our lives. This is very important. Just, you fail, you stand up again, and you look, what could I make different? What could I do differently next time that lets me not stumble and fall? Or that lets me stumble and fall a little bit less. I mean, look at the athletes. It's not like they are running world records, right? If you look at sprinters, they're not running 100 meters world record just out of like talent. There's a lot of effort and training that goes into that, and also strategizing, mental. But all of them have coaches. All of them have probably therapists, or at least like coaches, right? Mental coaches that are prepping them, that are making sure that they're all right during their like big things. Look at chess. It's the same thing. Not just sports, but also like, right? Not just physical sports, but also mental sports. Chess. I do believe that Magnus Carlsen, I think he once said that he's doing regular sports, right, in order to keep his body healthy, because a healthy body actually also perpetuates a healthy mind. And also, he needs the right mental, he needs the right preparation and all of that stuff, even as like the best in the world. And he had to get there first. This is very important. I do love this contrast, especially because they're sitting slightly in the dark. If you look at it, we are in a dark room, but we're sitting at a partially lit up place of that dark room. We're letting in the light from the outside, which is shining and bright and really almost too bright, right? It's almost blinding. The saturation and the brightness is really off in comparison to what we see inside and what we see at like the corners, at the dark parts of the insides of the house. But we're letting the light in. We're trying to move towards that. At least I see that as this way, especially if we closely cut both Ononoki and Nadeko in a way that the shadow is still partially on them, but most of it is light. So we're slowly moving ourselves into the light. It's interesting that it's also supposedly springtime, I think, because the cherry blossoms and all of that makes it seem to me like this is springtime. And I think a very, very popular saying in Japan is springtime of your life, which is perfectly describing the phase that Nadeko is in. She is developing as a person. She's right in her key window of development as a person. This is the phase where you start developing your dreams, where you start working towards them most of the time, where you lay the foundations. And this is what she's doing. She's making a serious effort at laying the foundations of her personality, the foundations of her own development. And no matter what the circumstance, where you properly sealed them away. Yes, exactly. You properly sealed them away. I find it very interesting that this is making it more likely for them to cooperate with you, but it makes sense, right? In a way, even if you're not consciously going through the steps of why you are conjoining these parts of yourself with yourself, accept them as who they are, and but refute them in the way of saying like, no, my current self, my current dreams, all of that is more important than all of these valid reasons that you have for rebelling against me, right? For disagreeing with me. Even if you don't consciously put that down, I understand that by sealing the deal, right, and capturing that inside of the paper, especially if you look at stuff like with Raft Nadeko, where she actually was captured inside the paper by current Nadeko using her characteristics to actually catch her, right? Turning her strength or the most resistant part of herself into the thing that actually makes her merge back into the paper. Then it makes sense that that would represent on a metaphorical level an attitude change of, I do accept this part of myself, but I understand that I need to overcome it in a way, right? Not cut it off from myself, but integrate it within myself and use it in a way that is advantageous to me reaching my goals. Yeah, the likelihood is better, but we could face that scenario where God Nadeko, Meek Nadeko, they turned this around on us and actually managed to do it. But we do have the advantage that we have the socializer and we have the person who is very dominant. And both of them, right, physically very dominant and also not taking any shit. And both of them would be able to maybe convince Meek Nadeko. Maybe stand up against God Nadeko to a degree, right? And this is our plan. I love that. This is not even symbolism. This is just a gorgeous shot from like top down above the ventilator, and Ononoke is just walking past that. They're playing so much with camera angles, and sometimes it means something, right? It's something very meaningful and metaphorical, and sometimes it's not, but it's still gorgeous. But to sound like an adolescent manga series becoming meta for a second. It's not manga, right? Monogatari also has a manga, but obviously its source material is a light novel. But it's an adolescent story in and of itself. It was with Araragi and it still is with Nadeko, right? Because we're going back and she's a little bit younger and now she's going through similar phases as Araragi and whatnot. The time has finally come for you to overcome your past self. Overcome and reintegrate it into yourself, I would say. If anything, it took too long. Meek Nadeko, who doesn't look forward, right? Very important, right? She always looks down. She always looks down. She's always defensive, avoidant, right? Going away from the trouble. And making her environment almost avoid her, right? And not bother her with things. Not looking forward at all, right? Staying where she is. Lady Nadeko, who caters to her surroundings, right? Very interesting. Catering to Araragi, right? In order to reach her goals. Catering to her surroundings in that way that we saw last time, where she's like trying to be the social butterfly in a way. But also, Meek Nadeko and Flirty Nadeko are very much the same in that aspect, right? They cater to their surroundings. Meek Nadeko in a way that she avoids it and tries to kind of just keep it at a healthy distance and send out signals for people to actually leave her alone. And Flirty Nadeko in the way that she tries to capture people and actually get them to do what she wants them to do, right? And be in a certain relation with her. Gain influence over them. She's still looking like, kind of, right? She's existing in the present, while Meek Nadeko is existing in the past. There are distinctions between the two of them, but they are minor. And there is a lot of similarities between the two. Raf Nadeko rages about everything, right? She rejects everything. She puts everything away and with force. As opposed to Nadeko, right? Meek Nadeko, who shows a lot of avoidant behavior, she shows a lot of just rebellious behavior, right? Everything that you throw her way, she's like, no, I'm gonna do the opposite. Not exactly, but mostly. God Nadeko acts with divinity and innocence. That is an interesting wish that is within that, right? A wish for denial of reality, but also a wish to put all of these things that are human, that are unpleasant, away from her, right? Because she wants to be back in that bubble of naivete and innocence. And she wants to be divinity at the same time, right? Higher than a human, so she doesn't have to concern herself with human desires and sadness and pain and emotion and all of that. It's very interesting, especially like with the symbolism and with the white dress, but it's poisonous in a way, because it's poisonous not only for yourself, but also for other people around you, to act with indifference, to act with seeming innocence, to act with divinity, which is like distance between yourself. So in a way, I feel like Meek Nadeko and God Nadeko are very similar, because Meek Nadeko puts distance between her and people through her shy and avoidant behavior. God Nadeko does the same, but just by being another state of being, right? By having another set of rules and responsibilities and powers, and like a big distance between her and humanity as such. It is the ultimate form of her delusion, to just separate herself completely from who she is, from her identity as a human. While Meek Nadeko avoids developing her identity, avoids just putting anything out there that people don't put on or project onto her, God Nadeko actually rejects her humanity. She rejects her identity as Nadeko and just becomes the god. And I guess Flirty Nadeko in that sense is more of her own identity, right? She puts it out a little bit, but it's more maybe fake identity in a way, right? It's protective identity, masking. And Raf Nadeko is maybe almost pure Nadeko identity, but she is more of all of the negative feelings, all of the negative associations, all of that that she doesn't want, that she puts out there, right? In a way of like being confrontative. I wonder if like this harshness of her is also a mechanism to keep people away from her and just make people not want to engage with her, right? And less about her actually pushing through her desires, and more about just using her desires as an excuse to just throw people away from her, right? Create that distance. And all of these Nadekos are maybe a way for Nadeko to create distance between the outside world, right? All of the things that are happening, be that her own identity and finding that, or be that just her interaction with other people and all of that, and pushing all of them away from her. While current Nadeko is just trying to reintegrate that into herself, right? Become a complete human being. A human being that is fulfilling her dreams, but to fulfill her dreams, she actually has to become a functional human being that is integrating the outside world into her own and actually developing an identity in contrast and in conjunction with that outside world. All of them are me and everything leads up to this current time. Yes, they all make you. That is why I have to take them and connect them to myself, right? Understand it on an emotional level, right? On a subconscious level, but eventually maybe even on a conscious level, on a level of realization, what connects them to you. Also snake in the soup. Very, very cheeky metaphor. The war will now begin, and she puts her cap to the side as like a beginning of the effort, which I really like. And we're not a draw part for why the fucking feed pics? Come on, this is the second time that we have the feed pics. Holy shit, you people have a problem. Shaft. You need to do some soul searching. Yeah, I love how Ononoki is always pointing to the goal. Bookstore partaking only, right? We're gonna look into all of these like visual metaphors and the kanji and whatnot. We're gonna look into that in the discussion. If there will be I think there will be a discussion, let's be honest. If I run out of battery, I'm actually just gonna say fuck it and gonna do the discussion then afterwards. I guess I can record kind of a like goodbye and see you in the discussion afterwards and kind of just hang it on. Nadeko being in the past, right? In like Mika Nadeko being at the bookshelves that started it all, kind of. It's pointless to ask. What's pointless to ask? By the way, it's pointless to ask, by the way, but what was the alternate plan? And it was like involving Shinobu, which is very interesting that we would involve her, but involving Shinobu and Hachikoji is kind of a last-ditch effort, right? Because it's people that we know, people that actually we can trust to maybe resolve the issue, kind of, but Ononoki is very careful to... These are gorgeous shots of Kiss Shot, by the way. Ononoki is kind of very conscientious about how Nadeko feels about confronting Araragi, which I think is beautiful. Parking area. Not completely, alright? Araragi. Okay, I guess... Right, I guess you have to rearrange the letters, but yeah. Araragi. Yeah. It doesn't work that you're reading it from like left to right or from right to left or whatever. You need to rearrange the letters, but it's still cool. Nadeko being really peeved, being like, thanks for looking out for me. Nadeko. Okay, we have to look that up, right? What it means. The shadow work, again, really cool. It almost looks like she's holding a pistol or something, right? If we fail, she's actually gonna do it, which absolutely 100% Ononoki, I'm with you there. Hachikushi, right? 9-4. I immediately got that. All right. Nice. Hachi. Yeah, and 8 is isn't it 8 also chi? Because we have like ku, chi. Yeah, 100%. We have the ha, and then we have the chi, ku, chi, or kushi. God 894. I don't know what 894 means, but it's funny. It's funny anyway. Right, this shot was amazing. Like how it's just parting way, opening up, and like we have a blurry picture of partially blurry picture of Nadeko before. It's kind of matte. It's, you know, the colors are not there, and we opening up to like a very vibrant picture of her. I guess it reinforces her resolve, in my opinion. And we're searching, and we do have the Nadeko like ability to be shy, to put everybody away with her shyness, which I think is very, very cool. We have us actually strategizing that we're going, right, let me see that. We will take on one Shikigami and Sandwich here with myself, and one of the two Nadeko Sengoku sealed away, right? We have 2-on-1. We're not having 1 3-on-2 fights, right? That would be shitty if we had 3-on-2 fights, because it would kind of devolve into chaos, right? So we need to control it a little bit. It's the ideal situation. Of course, she doesn't expect it to be ideal, which I already think is a really great step for Nadeko, to be like, things might not turn out the way I expect them to be, but we're making a plan and we're trying to stick to it, and it's gonna be fine. Even if she is nervous about the situation, it's great that she approaches these things like that. And I do love that. Like, she's almost about to go up, but then she's like, quickly something in her peripheral is catching her vision, and she's like, oh wait, there she is. And this is like the part of herself, right? The Nadeko within herself that is identifying that other part of herself, right? Because somebody else wouldn't have recognized that. Somebody else would have just passed by and ignored it, would have not perceived it, but she perceived it because she has that inherent connection to her. At the same time, we do have this weird feeling. What is happening? Why is that? Right? And I'm like, yeah, I had that weird feeling too, and I had this whole like spacey theory about Nadeko, right? Meek Nadeko being at the core of this, and it can still be, but it makes it less likely because we already had that twist, right? We already had the twist. Why were things so weird? Why did something not add up? It's because she has been the bait all along, and because of all the like 100 copy Lumer Nadekos upstairs, but she has been the bait all along, and she should have known that. She should have known that there would be a retaliation coming. It's also interesting how she later managed it, where she's like, first of all, she's thinking about her meek self, about just being like, her avoiding and not wanting and whatnot. And then like in the last second, she's thinking something is kind of off. I feel like what I overlooked is even more fundamental than that. As expected, Cool Nadeko is standing there reading books in the occult section. I'm sure she's reading up books concerning snakes. Back in that one moment, if I was not found and I'd visited the bookstore on another day or time, what might have happened? Would I have died from the curse, ending the story? And this is interesting because this is how we start that. She visited that at a certain time, and we met at a certain time and actually figured that out, and Araragi helped. And she's like, did I want to avoid being found? I was kind of happy about it, right? I was happy that I was helped in that situation. So Nadeko's avoidant ability, and actually us miraculously managing to find her, must have been kind of a desire of Nadeko of Meek Nadeko on the inside, which kind of suggests that this very situation where she's seen by current Nadeko, and Nadeko is trying to capture her, kind of also something she wanted, right? She wanted to be found, because if she wanted to not be found, she wouldn't be found. So is it Nadeko's special connection to Meek Nadeko that actually made her perceive her? Or was it Nadeko's desire to actually, in the last moment, be found and be the bait for this whole situation? In which case the whole bookshelf falls, and then she's theorizing about how, hey, that is weird. That God Nadeko would sacrifice her current Nadeko to to actually get me, right? To get what she desires, to get her goal. But wasn't it the same way when we were Nadeko Medusa, that Nadeko kind of abandoned herself, right? Abandoned her own humanity in order to become this god and get away from all of these things, right? In a way, postpone the problem or put the problem beneath her. We talked about this. It was the same way, right? I think it's very interesting that she's like, I should have had more proper fights with everyone. I wish I'd been friendly to everyone. Interesting that both of these are here, right? I should have made or had more proper fights, which is the thing that Meek Nadeko never did, right? She was always avoiding a fight. So she's like, maybe I should have been more like Wrath Nadeko occasionally, carry out these fights and then, right, reconciliate after that. And at the second, she's thinking about people like Senjugahara, and she's like, I wish I'd been more friendly to everyone. Like, maybe I could have made friends with people and actually, first of all, kind of just get help, right? Socialize with people, get a social support network in which I maybe feel at home, and maybe now I wouldn't be in the situation where I'm like kind of trying to even avoid Araragi when it comes to it, because it's making me uncomfortable to kind of confront him and all of that, and kind of feel weird about Senjo. We had that a couple of episodes ago with Oikora, where we talked about it, and she was like, yeah, I know her, we almost killed each other and whatnot. And she wishes, right, she has all of these things, I wish I had done this or that differently. And most of these are kind of aspects of Nadeko that we've been dealing with, right? Wrath Nadeko, Flirty Nadeko, right? Wish I'd been more friendly to everyone. Flirty Nadeko, 100%, right? That is the aspect of herself that's socializing, that's putting people on the forefront and just like accommodating to them. Yeah, I see I have like 4 minutes left on the camera, funny. Very cool that we have that emotional catharsis of Flirty Nadeko actually helping her and being like, I never put in an effort, hurry, right? This is like me going out of my way. And then we reconciliate, and I think this is a beautiful metaphor where she's like, I would like to have an outfit like you. Draw me with that one next time. And next time like implies that she's still part of herself, right? That she's still part of who she is, right? Her outgoing personality, the things that she does to socialize with people, to accommodate people, to actually interact with people and woo them, have charisma. All of these things are part of current Nadeko, parts that she wants to keep having, parts that she wants to keep establishing. Her sense of fashion as well. She likes specific parts of fashion. She likes that kind of outfit, would like to wear it. That is part of her as well. And I think that reconciliation of, hey, it's okay, we're gonna fulfill our dreams, but don't forget me. Don't reject me as a person. I'm not a separate person. I am you. That is one of the most social conditions. That is one of the most important things that we had this episode, which I really, really like. That is a beautiful frame. And we end up with a plan. We're like, look, we can use unlimited rulebook one time, so here's the plan. Here's the fucking plan. And it just crashed this entire party. But they're mass produced, right? So they're all just a copy, right? The more copies you have, the more they're just like kind of paper Mario cutouts. Just use the copying machine. They just exist as almost decoys in a way. You're just all of these pawns and you're the queen, right? You can move in any direction. Like, it doesn't matter how many pawns are around you, as long as you have a little bit space to move, you're gonna win as the queen. Human wall that Flirty Nadeko put up, and that little pun about the hand draw. We'll talk about that later on. I need to kind of compartmentalize that. Ononoki with her signature spin, and we love how we're moving like the shelves and all of that and talking about things. And she's like, I'm a full body patch workout or whatever right now, so I would like to avoid that. Yeah, okay, so we're trying to kind of get Nadeko to get a new hairstyle, be like, okay, if I give you a new hairstyle, you're gonna help us, and we're actually gonna confront like Snake Nadeko. I do love all of these displays, but we're gonna look at that in the discussion episode. like a discussion video. That was Monogatari episode, Off-Season Monster Season episode 5. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, leave me a like and subscribe to the channel for more content, weekly Monogatari, and all of the other shares I have. I don't have enough time to actually list them. Check out Discord if you want to. There's not a lot of activity, but I always love to have somebody new coming because the more people are in there, the more we're gonna talk eventually. Check out the Patreon if that is something for you, or if you just want to support me, I would appreciate it. And I will be seeing you in the discussion video.